just got to the Airbnb. Oops. No kitchen. Oh. Right next to the beach. Yeah, I can't really see. Okay. There's one room. And then here's where I'm going to stay. Nice bathroom. Got some nice towels, washcloths. I could really use it right now. I could really use a shower. I'm traveling for nearly 24 hours at this point. Local Tesco. It's like a 7-Eleven. They luckily had these. To run, but I've got my kit, which is just my surf gear, my backpack. My Airbnb was walking distance into downtown Newquay and the surf shop, so we met up there late morning. When we got to the beach, they had us do some warm-ups. They had us jog, which was terrible. I hadn't jogged in forever. And so it was really good to get the blood pumping. They also showed us some really good stretches, some I had never even thought of. So the surf school is split between beginners and progressors. Progressors are not quite intermediates, but they are not beginners, so they're moving on to the next level. Prior to the surf session, they went over how to catch a wave for beginners, how to use websites like Surfline, a popular surfing app, to check cameras, buoys, tides, things like that. They had the instructors split between the beginners and the progressors, and they would give you feedback after each wave you caught. It was pretty good. And they also had a couple filming, one on the beach and then one in the water with a GoPro. They also gave every student a notebook and asked what we'd like to improve on. Some of us had to go back to basics. The first time I attended this school, I needed to fix some bad habits. I really like the schedule too of the Women in Waves surf school. We wouldn't meet up until about 11 o'clock, sometimes 9 on the second day, and our surf sessions were only 2 hours, which is absolutely perfect, especially since it's so cold there and you really get worn out, especially if you're not used to surfing all the time, which most of us were not.
Go paddle! That's it, really hard. Paddle, 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 paddle.
So a group of us progressor surfers paddled out the back to some unbroken green waves with the instructor. I normally would never have done this with such large waves, but we were in a group and we were with an instructor, so I felt a little overly confident. And this is where I really ran into trouble. I went for some green waves, and they felt like 8-foot waves. I don't think they were quite 8 feet, but they certainly felt like it. I managed to catch a wave, and then the lip of my board was up in the air, and I'm not used to that. I'm used to it being like flat on the water, and so I panicked, didn't know what to do, and I ended up going over the falls, getting trapped underneath in the washing machine, just basically trapped underwater. When that happens to me back home, it's usually like a 3-foot wave, and it's not that scary. But I was held under for what seemed like forever. I swallowed some water. I popped up, got hit by another massive wave. And of course, this massive 8-foot foamy board is getting tossed around with me. I was so out of shape because I don't get to surf that often. I don't paddle that often either. That after several rounds of this, it felt like 6 waves had like trapped me under. I was trying to paddle to my board and just getting to my board, which is about 6 feet away with my leash. I couldn't do it. Like my back was hurt too. I had actually injured myself right before the session because I was trying to pull my hood over my head and ended up getting like a kink in my neck. And yeah, it was injured for like the whole trip. So I just could not make myself move, and I was drowning. I had swallowed the water. I couldn't properly like, breathe, and you had like a second before the next wave came and smashed you down. And I was screaming for help, but of course no one could hear me. And with most drowning incidents, like nobody realizes you're drowning. So the people that were somewhat close, like 30 or 40 feet away, couldn't even tell that I was drowning. And then I thought to wave my hands, which is what I should have done initially. One of the instructors saw me, grabbed me, and led me to shore. I couldn't even get onto my board. I was so weak and just my back and neck hurt so bad. After making it back to the beach, I just kind of relaxed and rested and tried to clear the water out of my throat and lungs. And then it was very important to me to get back into the water in this session because I knew if I didn't, I'd be more traumatized and I'd be scared to go back in. So I just caught some little whitewash waves, and pretty much everyone else did too. I think other people got clobbered and just kind of came in.
board and I was like, what is her
So the following morning, following the wrap up of the surf camp, I had the super ambitious plan to take a train from Newquay to London, London to Paris, Paris to Biarritz, France, and then a couple days later from Biarritz to San Sebastian, Spain, which is just over the border. It's about 45 minutes from Biarritz. So I wanted to go to Biarritz because I had a custom-made surfboard that was being produced there, and I was supposed to go pick it up. It was supposed to be ready then. But I messaged the shop a couple days before leaving for the surf camp, and they said it wasn't ready yet. They were waiting on some marine grade parts, but they invited me to come check out the board anyway. And I thought how cool would it be to surf in France and Spain and check another couple countries off my bucket list. But this plan was overly ambitious and probably very foolish and went off the rails soon after I left Newquay. No pun intended. So I was running late, packing in the morning. I had slept really hard the night before and just gone to bed early after showering. So I was rushing around, packing, and I did not book my taxi the night before. I should have definitely done that. So by the time the taxi arrived and took me to the train station about a mile away in Newquay, I ended up missing the train. For whatever reason, I thought the trains came every 15 minutes. They did not. The next train wasn't until 2 hours later, so I just hung out in the coffee shop at the train station and read my book. So my train was supposed to take me from Newquay to London, so I boarded it and was supposed to get off at this connecting stop that was right in Cornwall, right outside of it. This is where things went downhill. I got off at the wrong stop accidentally. I was pretty frazzled. I was sleep deprived this entire trip. I don't know what I was thinking, but anyway, I got off at the wrong stop. The train was stopped for like half an hour, and so I got off and went to the ticketing agent to ask which train I needed to take back to London. And she gave me the correct directions, so I was waiting in line for the next train. And at that time, I realized I had left my little hand luggage on the train. I don't know how I did this, but I did. Luckily, I had my backpack on me with all my important documents and wallet, etc. I got on the next train and I was about 10 or 15 minutes behind the train where my luggage was on. Luckily, I had an air tag in the luggage. I do this whenever I travel, and I was able to track where it was going. I was also able to get in contact with a train manager that was walking through checking tickets. Shout out to Chris from GWR, Great Western Railroad. You were a lifesaver that day. Anyway, when we got to the connecting station, he and I ran through the next train searching for my luggage, and he grabbed it. Great ending, especially since it still had my damp wetsuit in it. So several hours later, I arrived in London. By that point, it was late evening. My nerves were pretty frazzled, and I don't know how I screwed up the easiest train system in the world, but I did. I did not feel like taking another train to Paris and then down to southern France and Spain. So I decided instead to take a hop flight from London to Amsterdam to go visit my brother-in-law and sister-in-law who live in the Netherlands. I stayed in a Holiday Inn hotel inside London Heathrow Airport. Yes, there's a Holiday Inn there. So I got up at 4 a.m. the next day for the flight to the Netherlands, but that will be the next video. While the trip was super frustrating, I did learn a lot about public transportation, and it's always good to get yourself out of your comfort zone. I also really loved riding the train and seeing the English countryside. The surf school was also absolutely worth it, and I'll definitely be going back again. For more surfing content, including warm and cold water surfing, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.